Welcome to Scorched Earth and a general reading for the sign of Cancer, Sun, Moon or Ascendant for the month of April 2023. I hope you are well. I'm using the Tarot of the Abyss for you today. Just before we begin, if the reading resonates with you and you would like to go a little bit deeper, there will be an extended that's available at the end. That is the first link in the description box. The second link in the description box is to the 6-month overviews that I've done for each of the signs. They run from January to June 2023. Obviously, we are halfway through that period now, so I have marked them down accordingly in price. So if you haven't had a chance to check out what that time period has in store for you and you would like to know, you know what to do with that link. The third link is to my private community, the Order of the Phoenix, over on Circle. You can get access to all of the extended content for no extra cost, plus meet an incredible amount of people. Really, my tribe. That's all I have to say about that. And we started running classes and all sorts of things over there, so if that's of interest to you, you know what to do. Now, Cancer, there's a reason why you've been left to the end, and it's not because I hate you or anything like that, but far from it. Actually, I tried to do your reading about third or fourth in, and then again about 6th or 7th in, because I've done your reading twice already. This is the third attempt at your reading. The first time I did it, it was so uncharacteristically swift, like I proper rattled through it, that I felt like I hadn't really done it justice. And so I resolved I would do it again. And when your coin reappeared, excuse me, I did indeed do it again. And this was longer and much more in depth, but it seemed to be entirely the other way around to the way that I had read the first set of cards. And so the only conclusion that I can come to is that either you are in a period of incredible flux at the moment, and it has been difficult to nail down the energies because everything's been changing so rapidly, or that there are several different stories here, different sections of the Cancer collective, that were all kind of jostling for dominance, and as yet, maybe third time lucky, neither of them had actually managed it. So let's have a look and see what's going on with you and see if we can't come up with some sort of coherent thread this time. What about this? Oh, there was a coherent thread last time, to be fair. It's just that it flipped on the second one. So we have the Two of Cups in your recent past. Tell me about current energy for Cancer, please. Here it is. We have the Ten of Wands. Let me flip this around so you can see what I'm looking at. There we go. Put my ashtray out of the way, you don't need to see that. And what's coming towards Cancer, please, for April? Thank you. We have the Nine of Swords. Right, we have the Two of Swords at the bottom of the deck here, and this looks like it's a different story altogether, to be honest. We have, two cards, number 2 here, so we've got a lot going on internally, but we've also got the Ten of Wands, external pressures, and the Nine of Swords, difficulties. Now, let me pull up a clarifying deck. Let's have a look and see what's going on here for you, Cancer. Can I have 2 cards for the Two of Cups? Where is that for Cancer? We have the Temperance card, and we have the Eight of Pentacles. Tell me about the Ten of Wands, please. Why is that here? We have the Six of Swords, and we have the Four of Wands. Tell me about the Nine of Swords, please. Seven of Wands, and the Emperor. We've got the King of Wands at the bottom of the deck here, and if we were to read these 2 shadow cards together, it would be perhaps being in a state of not quite knowing what to do for the best. The Two of Swords suggests that there are things that are currently obfuscated from you, whether that is because you're choosing, sorry, that's my timer, whether you're choosing not to see them consciously, whether you're subconsciously choosing not to see them, and that's a different matter altogether, or whether you're aware that there's an issue and you're not quite sure how to go about approaching it. What do we have underneath here? We have the Three of Swords underneath the 2, and then the Six of Swords again. Underneath the King of Wands we have the Five of Swords, and the Chariot, there you are, Cancer. This it looks a bit like a sticky mess, if I'm honest. You know, everything starts off very nicely over here. We've got this Temperance card and the Eight of Pentacles underneath the Two of Cups, which would speak to perhaps reconciliation at some point, right? You know, you looking to reconciliate with someone else, or, you know, very much in the process of reconciliation. Now, this doesn't have to be between you and a boyfriend or a girlfriend or a spouse or anything like that. You know, it could be reconciliation of family, it could be reconciliation of friends, somebody that you've fallen out with. Like, there seems to be a resolve on your part here to work on this, right? Now, the Two of Cups is about the experience of intimacy between two people, whether they are business partners or, like I said, you know, spouses or friends or whatever, where you come together with, you know, shared interests, shared goals. There's an alignment here of people. Sometimes it's just chemistry, you know. They might not have anything in common at all, but if the chemistry is there, then, you know, that's the thing. But the Temperance card, not often an interpretation that I give to the Temperance card, reconciliation, but that's the one that's coming up really strongly here. And a desire to work at stuff. Now, we've got the Marigold coming out to clarify, which is slightly troubling here. Tell me about this Temperance card. Got the Five of Wands in reverse. Well, I mean, that's absolutely exactly what I'm saying. If there was a card of reconciliation, or at least starting to bring some level of peace to a situation, it would be the Five of Wands. The Ace of Pentacles. Oh, thank you. We have the Ace of Wands. Yeah, I mean, there's a definite desire to start again here, and it is start again. It's not start something new, it is start again. So whether this is with, you know, so all it needs to be is somebody that you've fallen out with, that you've been close to, in whatever sense close applies here, you know, business partners, friends, and yes, absolutely, relationships and lovers and all this sort of stuff as well. One more card for this. Eight of Pentacles. We've got the Six of Swords. Now, the Six of Swords has shown its face 3 times in this reading. I've got 3 decks on the table, and the Six of Cups, the Six of Swords has come up each time. The Queen of Cups is at the bottom of this deck, and that's the Cancer card right there. The Six of Swords talks about moving on from something. Now, quite often it can be moving away from someone, you know, going away from, think about how we see it in the Six of Swords here. We've got this choppy water, we've got things not being quite as we would like, and we've got smoother seas ahead. And I feel like whatever balm you are trying to put on a situation, on any kind of relationship that this refers to for you, excuse me, it's with a really good intent. It's with the intent of moving away from the Five of Swords, you know, perhaps quite a combative situation where there's a lot of verbal sparring going on, and move into something altogether much more peaceful. Now, I think that you've been showing up and being very diligent in that, but we've got the Ten of Wands here, and the question that I want to ask you is it turning out the way that you planned, Cancer? Because I can see you putting in a lot of effort here, but I can see you beginning to bend over with the weight of all of the effort that you're putting into something. You know, we've got the Six of Swords here again, and we've got the Four of Wands. That which you are attempting to move towards is something, like, you feel to me like you're trying to get something back. Because look at this Five of Wands here, right? It is in the reverse, so we have got a situation that is less fraught than it was. Certainly a state of peace beginning to reign, and we see that here with the Temperance card and stuff as well. But the Four of Wands is a step back from the Five of Wands. You know, really, from the Five of Wands, in order to be successful, what we would be looking for is the Six. Now that transition from the Five of Wands to the Six of Wands says, yes, sometimes things are hard and sometimes we have to struggle in order to get where we want with something. You know, Five of Wands is Saturn, I believe, Saturn in Leo, whereas the Six of Wands is Jupiter in Leo, right? And we have that victory and success of the Six of Wands saying, yes, you triumphed over this thing. But the Four of Wands is a step back. So then it makes me feel like you're trying to get something back that has actually since gone. Now, whether it is because something has been irreparably damaged, or whether it is because the person that you've been trying to reconcile with is nowhere near as far along the path of effort as you are. You know, this Ten of Wands is a card of burden. It's a card of being working really, really hard for very little reward. I mean, the Ten of Wands often, to me, speaks about making things hard for yourself, doing them the difficult way around. You know, and that's because, like, does he need 10 wands? You know, does he need to carry them as far? Does he need them all immediately, or could he have stashed some under a bush and come back for some later? You know, I'm leaning towards, just with the cards that are on the table, without even looking at anything else, that we're looking at right here, rather than looking ahead. I'm starting to wonder if it is possible for you to get this thing back, Cancer. Because it seems to me like you're the one who's putting in all of the effort here. You're putting in all of the hard work, and it's getting increasingly more difficult. And potentially the end result is becoming more elusive for you. Four of Wands. We have the Three of Swords, we have the Two of Swords, and we have the Ten of Pentacles. Now, the Two of Swords has appeared here twice, and this, I'm afraid, very much puts it into the realm of that which your subconscious is choosing not to see. I often refer to this card as willful ignorance, and it sounds pretty brutal, but it talks about seeing what we want to see rather than what is right in front of us. And what is right in front of you is actually the Three of Swords, it seems to me here. But it's somewhat obscured in favour of the Ten of Pentacles, which feels much more like an attachment to outcome than an honest representation of what it is that is in front of you here. I mean, what the Ten of Pentacles has talks about to me specifically is commitment. Now, we have you committing to someone over here. We have you putting in lots and lots of work, and it's for an end result. One hopes that the Ten of Pentacles will be the end result of all of the Eight of Pentacles that you put in, you know, all of the effort that you are expending. But this Three of Swords, as much as it's hiding behind the Two of Swords, like it's not going anywhere. It's right there, and I wonder if we've arrived at a point where too much water has gone under the bridge, Cancer, and whatever it is that you're trying to repair is beyond salvation. And not for the want of your commitment, I have to say. That's really clear, Cancer. You know, your commitment is fine. You just don't seem to be having the level of effort that you're putting in reciprocated back to you, which makes me think that the person that you're dealing with is a lot less invested in this situation than you are. And when we move into April, we've got the Nine of Swords with the Seven of Wands and the Emperor. Now, the Nine of Swords is obviously it's overthinking, it's insomnia, it's worry and concern about things, where sometimes it can be anything up to, you know, chronic depression, mental illness, all those sorts of things. But it's certainly somebody who seems to be stuck in their own mind. Now, notice here, interestingly, that we have the Five of Wands to the Four of Wands, and like I said, it was about taking a step back. And then somehow you are vaulting right over the Six of Wands to arrive at the Seven. And here we have a person who is looking extremely defensive. Somebody who is looking like they are under attack. Now, quite whether this chap has the high ground or not, and that's something that tarot readers often say, oh, they've got the high ground, or whether you're fighting off invisible assailants who aren't really there because maybe those ones are just, you know, stuck in the mud. It's difficult to say. But this Emperor is side-eyeing the Seven of Wands. And it feels like things are disintegrating. It feels like no matter how much effort you're putting into something, it is getting to a point where even you have to admit that it's not paying off the way that you intended it to. That there's something here that feels slightly frantic about the way that the situation is progressing. Tell me about this Emperor, please. We've got the Page of Wands and we've got the Nine of Wands. And we've got the Hanged Man. Now, the Page of Wands for me is a card that speaks of great excitement about the future. This is somebody who's about to go on some sort of journey, you know, figuratively or literally, however you want to look at it. But it feels out of place here. It feels misplaced. And I wonder if what you've noticed is the Page of Wands has kind of overtaken everything. Because this Nine of Wands, which does talk about resilience, but also talks about boundaries. And then we have this Hanged Man here, card of Pisces. He's kind of saying, no, you need to look at this from a different angle. I wonder if your boundaries have been in some way assaulted. You know, there's a question here possibly of having slipped into old habits, old patterns. But an awareness that has happened in April. I mean, this is where the defensive energy seems to be coming from. This is where the concern seems to be coming from. Because whether or not that Emperor is you, and I can see an argument for it being you, and also an argument for it being someone else, someone that you perceive to be an authority around you. There's a really stern feeling coming off it. Now, if this Emperor is you, and what you've realised is kind of coming to your senses and saying, my God, it's happened again. Either because you have overinvested in a situation, or because you've allowed someone to essentially pull the wool over your eyes a little bit. Now, like, it might be because you've seen what you wanted to see rather than what actually exists. But there could be an element of manipulation here. Don't have a card on the table to speak to that specifically. But the Emperor would be about getting your shit together. And I feel like there's something here that is lost and you haven't noticed it yet. In April, it will become more obvious. But whatever this reconciliation is, it's not working the way that you expected it to. It's certainly not working the way that you hoped it would. And to be quite honest, Cancer, I'm not sure it's working at all. Which is interesting. Because it suggests that going back to the drawing board with the boundaries is really very important. Now, I said that there were 2 different Cancer readings, and there are. And what I'm planning to do is put the links up to those up for people who are on Circle. So you can watch those readings and see if they resonate to you. Because this is a different story altogether from the 2 that I've already seen. I don't know if there's some sort of fracturing of Cancer energy where you're all off in different directions at the moment, or what. But I'm going to put those readings up there. There aren't any extendeds to them, they're just standalone videos as they are. But I'm going to go over to Vimeo now, and we're going to look at this a little more deeply. So if it has resonated with you and you want to go and have a look, you know what to do. It's the first link in the description box. Otherwise, I have to say, your energy has been entirely perplexing to me this month. Like I said, it's going off in all different directions, and you know, maybe all three of these situations apply to you. I don't know, but short of stitching them all together to make one big video, I don't really know what to do with that. So this is what I have for you. April's going to be challenging. If this has resonated with you, April is going to be challenging, but it could be quite altering in lots of ways, because the Hanged Man is here helping you achieve a different perspective, and it's a different perspective specifically on the Two of Cups. Might be one last push on a lesson, you know. Alright, Cancer, I'm going to leave it there. Know that I love you all very, very much, and I'll see you soon.